And we're live, everyone. Hi everyone. I'm Christian with Cryptic Hybrid. Welcome to today's, well, I would say live stream. Technically it's a live stream, but it's better than that. What's better than a live stream? Yes, I know, 2 live streams. Don't make that joke. Come on, it's not. No, better than a live stream, better than 2 live streams. It's a developer interview, and I have here with me Steven from Outsider Games. Hi.
Hello.
So what we're going to talk about today is, well, obviously not Blizzard games, because if I hear anyone talking about Overwatch, a game, seriously, again, I don't want to talk about this. I want to talk about Jennifer Wilde, and that's the project that Outsider Games has right now on their plate. Actually, they may have more. I don't know. Maybe we can get something from Steven. Like they're probably working for something for like Marvel or something. I'm guessing, but he's here to talk about Jennifer Wilde. Let's see if we can like pull his tongue and get something more. So Jennifer Wilde is an adventure game. It's on Kickstarter right now. You can check out the link in the description below if you want to support it. It still has like 50 hours worth until the campaign is ending, so you can support it. It is funded, so congratulations, Steven, on that. And it's funded, so it is going to be made. But what is it about? Let's see.
So Jennifer Wilde is a point-and-click adventure game. It's a 2D adventure game, and it stars Jennifer Chevalier. She's a art student in 1920s Paris, and she solves mysteries for the ghost of Oscar Wilde.
So that I like how you really need to pause after that. It's like the ghost of Oscar Wilde. What? It's like because 90% of your presentation is like, oh, okay, that's interesting. That's in what? A ghost of Oscar Wilde? Okay, tell me about that. What's going on? How did this whole plot come to be?
Okay, so it's a small spoiler, but on the very first scene of the game, Jennifer's father dies. And she believes that it's been a murder. So she goes back to his hotel room, and as a kid she could see ghosts, but it's sort of been repressed as she gets older. So she tries to call back the ghost of her father, and accidentally calls back the ghost of Oscar Wilde, who died in the same hotel room 20 years earlier. So we do find out later on that there's a bit of a connection between Oscar Wilde and her father, but yeah, then it's basically the game is the story of Jennifer and the ghost of Oscar Wilde trying to solve the mystery of Jennifer's father's death.
So, who's the Holmes in this situation?
Well, I think Oscar.
Who's the smarter one? Be honest.
Well, it's actually a bit of because Oscar will know more than he's allowed to tell. There's sort of there's rules in the afterlife of you can't exactly, you can't really bring any spoilers back to Earth, as I say. But he doesn't know who killed Jennifer's father though, and it really is down to Jennifer to do the actual mystery solving. She's an artist, so she sort of makes sketches in her sketchbook, and sort of turns them into like a comic book narrative, and it's really Jennifer then that will ultimately solve the mystery with Oscar's help.
So without them being teaming up, there would be no, let's say, resolve for the murder of Jennifer's father. They have to work together.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because even at the start, Jennifer's first impression is that Oscar is the wrong ghost. So just go away. You're no help. She's got a bit of an ego. Obviously, she's also.
Well, to be fair, I mean, if you would ask, like, if you would summon a ghost to help you with the murder, it wouldn't be Oscar Wilde. Like, Oscar Wilde would not be your first choice. But why Oscar Wilde? Can you tell me a little bit about the history of the game and the comic book?
Yeah, sure. So so the game is based on the story of it was Jennifer Wilde was created by Rob Curley, who's a publisher and writer based down in Dublin, and he runs a company called Atomic Diner that publishes comics. And so he came up with the idea of Jennifer Wilde, and he brought Maureen McHugh on to write that first arc of the sort of full story of sort of almost like Jennifer's origin. So that was a what was the
Inception.
Yeah, that was the sort of start. And I'm going to say that I was the artist on that on the comic. So now that's where the story came from, and now we're sort of changing media in the games.
When did the comic book come out?
Um, it must have been at least 5 years ago now when I drew it. I can't remember the exact date, but it was sort of like a 3-issue series that came out. There's been 4 in total. I think we sort of drew it over the course of a year, and then published it there about 5 years ago. So it's been a while since I finally got the chance to turn it into an adventure game, but I've been sort of been eager to do it for a while.
So what made you think that this comic book would be a good inspiration for a game?
Yeah,
like what drew you to it?
I sort of mentioned on our sort of Kickstarter video, just like even when I was first drawing the comic, you know, it's got these it's got brilliant characters for a start. It's got a brilliant script by Maura, but it's got this 1920s jazz era setting. And it's got, sort of like, it starts off anyway in Paris, so it has this sort of like gorgeous architecture and, all these different things you can pull from. But it's really that mystery at the start, just Jennifer hunting through to try and find the mystery of her father's, her father's murder, and just having that quirky, sort of quirky playoff against or with Oscar. So just the sort of relationship, the characters, the setting, and the art. And it's got a really nice noir, setting as well. So I think even back then I was sort of like designing these puzzles in my head of what you could add in to the game and sort of flesh out. So it's just I think it's just got all those things are a perfect combination.
Mm-hmm. Okay, because it's a really interesting thing, because there's plenty of works of art, and it's really cool to find out why you chose this one. So may I assume that this was like on the back burner for like a while now? Like you wanted to make this for a while into the game?
Yeah. So I think I must have been first talking to Rob about doing it, because I think we'd only sort of moved into PC games there started making ones about 3 years ago. And I made Wheelin' Heights, which was our first adventure game. And then I was sort of
awesome.
showing. Oh, thanks very much. I was sort of showing Rob what we were doing, and I was like, I've always thought that Jennifer Wilde would be a perfect point-and-click adventure game. You've sort of seen what we can do. Is there, do you think we could maybe as our next project, adapt Jennifer Wilde? And I sort of told him the ideas I had and stuff for it, and the different mystery and stuff, and he was sort of sold him on it. So he says, yeah, you drew the comic, so you can, I'll sort of trust you to translate it into a game, so you can take it and and make it your own. So I think that must have been at least then 2 years ago, because we're just finishing off. We were still finishing off Wheelin' Heights when I was talking to, actually maybe even before that. Yeah, we were still talking to Rob, and then sort of had the sort of deal set up by the time Wheelin' Heights was finished, and we were able to sort of move into the planning and sort of designing and sketching out Jennifer's world as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so once again, let's pause a little bit, because Warscar's in the comments is like, what the hell took you so long? You are an hour and 30 minutes late. It's not my fault. It was ex-Hurricane Ophelia, or whatever its name is, that destroyed pretty much half of Belfast. The whole Irish island, it was destroyed, and we managed to rescue Stephen by helicopter. So
Just
he's
right
fine.
there.
Yeah, we barely got him out. Like he was almost going to drown, like God forbid, and we got him out, and we got him safe to an undisclosed location. No, it's not Sweden, because it's not safe. We took him to Norway. You just can't know where. We found, we just had to find something good, and now that's why I started an hour later. And he also asked something relevant about the game. Is it hand drawn?
Yes, it's hand drawn. We all sort of like have Wacom and sort of like drawn tablets. So it's drawn on a screen, but it's literally drawn with a pen. And every line is a lot of it was John McFarlane here, who's sitting behind me, listening to the praise I'm going to give him. No, he's terrible. He's a terrible artist. No, he's a great artist. He would literally just sit down and draw every single line. Do everything as a sketch, and then do all that fine line work. It would take him hours and days and weeks to get it done. So it's a long process, but I think it works. It looks gorgeous whenever you actually see the finished artwork in the scenes.
Like, can I get like let's say an estimate? For example, the scene like the beginning that's on screen right now. How long would a scene like this take from concept to actually being implemented in game?
Well, the sort of the sort of upside we do have is that a lot of the scenes are based on the scenes from the comic. So I drew on that same scene, sort of like whatever, sort of 5 years ago, and it maybe took me a day to sort of draw that first page and do the design, but John would spend at least a week or maybe 2 weeks redrawing it, because obviously for a game you have to, you're not going to spend just sort of like 10 seconds reading the page or a minute reading the page. You're going to be in that scene for maybe 10 minutes, more than that if you're coming back later on. So so you put in a lot more detail, and also everything's in layers. So you have to keep on you draw layer upon layer upon layer. So yeah, I think that first scene was really detailed. So I'd say it took him a couple of weeks to get that to get everything all done for that first scene. Is that right, John?
Yes.
Yeah, he says yes. It took him a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Do you have like an estimate as how many scenes the full game will have?
I haven't done a full document yet, so I don't want to make any promises yet. But obviously it'll be a good bit longer than what I have now. So yeah, don't want to. Yeah, I think because I'll say
John will have to work a lot.
He'll be working for months and months, full time drawing. So yeah, that'll give you a good indication.
But the end result is it's really awesome, and I really like the detail, and because of it's so layered, it has. Well, I think everyone loves the parallaxing effect, right? And that's really awesome to see, up close and also in the background, and the level of detail is the only thing that that technically bothered me. In theory, right? It's not in practice, not a problem. It's like I was thinking when I saw the first images, like, how am I supposed to know what I can click or not?
Yeah.
But that's no problem because you have speech bubbles, and that's handled really well.
Yeah, we're going to put because at the start, our first, we're sort of walking around, and we obviously knew what to click on. So we added in a sort of there's a bit of a glow behind any of the objects. So if you either walk around or put your mouse cursor over the items, if you sort of you move it around the screen or in the environment, and anything you can interact with has a bit of a glow behind it. I think I'll maybe make that a bit more obvious as well, just as we're sort of tweaking it and going along. But I didn't want that sort of environment or that sort of gameplay where you're clicking every single millimeter of the screen just to test.
So you didn't want it to be like an actual, like the old point and click adventure games where like if I click here, if I click here, if I click here, seriously, that happens so many times. Like, it's annoying. It's really frustrating. To have to just look for some stuff in some obviously beautifully drawn scenery, but that's just annoying, and I like that you don't have to do that here.
Yeah, I think for us it's the sort of mechanics are more about how do I make this work for the story rather than can I click it or can I find it. It's more about the things you can find, or you can. They're quite easy to, they're quite obvious to find, but it's how you actually use them in the game that's important.
Yeah, true, because it's it has to be fun and not a drag to one. Otherworld Productions asked in the chat, what is the track on the teaser trailer? It's amazing. Can I purchase it anywhere? Please let me know.
Yes, you can.
I guess he's talking about the Kickstarter trailer.
I just figured out who Otherworld Productions are. Otherworld Productions are the people that made that track. So
oh my god, they're stealing their own.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a. I was like, I know that name from somewhere. So it's actually it's a read of one of the tracks we had on Whalen Heights. It's we had a game called or Otherworld Productions who actually the band is called the Issue. James Downey runs is the sort of foreman of the Issue. But he
I remember seeing a video of the band playing.
I think his track is called it's called either Eden or Dancing Through Eden. You'll have to ask him. But he it was heard in Whalen Heights, but he's done a sort of a long jazzy version of it for his EP. So yeah, we sort of took that jazz part and added it in for the soundtrack of the trailer. But we're going to do a whole jazz album for sort of like an EP ourselves for Jennifer Wilde. So it's set in 1920s jazz era Paris. So it's going to be really brilliant to sort of work on a full jazz soundtrack, that'll sort of be the backdrop of the game, and also its own sort of standalone EP album, which you can also get as one of the Kickstarter awards If you like jazz and you like music, it's one of the. It's one of the
And are you going? Are you thinking of like offering that like as a DLC, like a separate DLC that you can purchase?
Yeah, I think for Wailing Heights we had a sort of deluxe edition where you had the game, a sort of digital art book and digital digital soundtrack. So we'll do something similar for Jennifer Wilde. Yeah.
Okay, and let's see, Warscar. How many frames a second when you are moving?
So we actually we're still sort of like trying to get our final version of the animations. It's only some tweaks and stuff as you go along, but it's not actually. Well, it's a mixture of frame by frame and spine animation. So in Wailing Heights, it was basically all spine animation. But it can be a bit because we didn't have much time because there was so many characters you could play as, but we didn't have enough time to make it sort of frame by frame. And I think it worked for that sort of comic book style. You're walking around. Mm-hmm. But for Jennifer Wilde, we're trying to do a mix of more traditional animation and spine animation, which is basically a 2D rig. So the hands, they're not sort of moving forward, or they're not frame by frame moving forward. They're actually moving forward in the world. So there is no frames really, in a way. Well, there's probably only maybe like maybe only 5 frames because as the hand twists around, but in the middle of those 5 frames is an actual movement of the arm. So it's a nice blend, and we're going to keep on working on it to make sure the blend works even better and add in more frames as we go along. But it makes it quite a smooth effect.
Yeah, and you could say that thing. You sounded like you were like in the Matrix. Like there are no frames. Like what spoon? There is no spoon. Exactly. That's Millisecond Falcon in the chat says, any plans to have collectibles or Steve achievements?
Yeah, we'll definitely have Steam achievements. And on collectibles, that's an interesting thing to have a look at. We did something like that for Wailing Heights, where you would collect little backgrounds of comic books. You're definitely picking up. There would definitely be some sort of items that you can collect and read along the way. So they'll be they are story based, but you'll be able to go back and read those in the back of your notebook. So in a way, yeah, but definitely achievements. If you get a Steam version, there's a DRM free version and there's a Steam version. So if you get a Steam version, there'll be achievements, in the game itself.
So no pin-up versions of Jennifer Wilde? Like
it's something I haven't really. I've been concentrating on actually making the game. The campaign, but it's something I'll have a look at because I would like to. I know the art book's going to have a lot of the sketches and behind the scene material, but we'll see. We'll have a look at it and see how it looks.
Okay, well, if it looks like, are you thinking of making anything colored, like from sketches, or is everything going to be, shades of grey? I would say.
Yeah, well, so we sort of took that sort of black and white ink wash style from the comic, and I think it looks pretty unique, and it sort of makes John's artwork stand out if you keep it all black and white. But there is going to be some I think even in the trailer there'll be sort of key scenes of spot color. Right. I think you've seen some of the blood when Jennifer comes along that crime scene. There's a bit of blood on the ground, sort of seeps out, and it's sort of a red material. So things like that. We'll have important moments. They'll be highlighted by maybe the odd sort of a bit of spot color, but the whole but the actual sort of look of the game is an ink wash black and white style.
So Warscar says, when will the game come out? Well, we'll talk about that. Please explain. This is okay. Please explain the reason for some characters having a dark, hard outline and others a very thin, light one.
Well,
is that like the importance of them?
No, it's just so the character. So like when you're traditionally drawn sort of comic book artwork, the way you would sort of make it stand out is that the characters in our foreground will have a thicker sort of line work art style. So it's meant to sort of replicate that sort of old that old inking style from the comics. I think I was just sort of making the scene up. We'll have a look at how thick those lines have to be. But it's sort of like it's the old. It's basically replicating brushwork from the black and white comics.
Okay, so it's the art style of the comics that sipped into, and it stays like that because it's not a highlight thing, right? Like a specific highlight thing for the game.
No. I think he's talking about just like there's some of the characters sort of in the foreground that have a thick black line, sort of ink style, and as you go further into the background, some of the characters have like a thinner black line. I think it's probably not perfect yet in the demo, but that's the intent. The intention is as the characters come towards you, the lines are sort of a bit heavier and brushier.
Oh, okay, got it. So, well, let's talk about more about the story, I guess.
Yeah.
So you have Jennifer, you have Oscar. What's going to be the interaction between the two of them? So you'll be able to control one at any given point in time. Can you switch between them? Is there going to be like some sweet banter between them or something?
There's definitely banter. That's a big part of the comic and a big part of the game. They're both very like strong-willed, individuals. They both have a bit of, especially at the start, both have a bit of an ego and a bit of a disregard for other people. But they're both also very witty, and as they sort of get to know each other, they'll sort of open up a bit and become good friends. And they will sort of discover, a bit about each other's backgrounds that might that makes them even sort of closer together in a way. But yeah, so the design document isn't. We're still working on some mechanics and tweaking it. But as far at the minute, you do switch between them both to solve some of the puzzles. Obviously, sort of as we're designing it, there'll be sort of prompts or sort of certain areas where you can only reach certain areas if you're Oscar or that sort of thing, or you can only talk to certain ghosts if you're Oscar, because the people in the way will obviously see Jennifer talking to the middle of the air and think it looks a bit weird. Even for example, on that sort of street scene, if Jennifer walks up to the dead body and starts talking to the dead body, the policeman's going to think she's insane, maybe try and take her away. Right. So, because later on in the game you can come back there and you can talk to one of the victims' ghosts. But if also then she might say to Oscar, look, I can't get. He thinks I'm insane. Can you go up and talk to him? And then to sort of solve that puzzle, you got to go up as Oscar and talk to him, then pass the information back on to Jennifer. So there'll be certain points where you have to switch to sort of solve the puzzle, but it's not. Oscar is actually tethered to Jennifer, so there is no sort of like it isn't their story isn't separate. They are combined together on the one screen.
So they can't be in different scenes.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
On their own.
So yeah.
Oh,
that's it.
Okay, that's interesting. And can you scare people with Oscar? Like, just Casper the Friendly Ghost, except, Oscar Wilde creepy type of thing. Just go up to them like, oh, I want to get rid of this person. Let me scare him.
You definitely can't kill anybody as Oscar. No, it's not it's not a sort of killing type game. But there'll be different things you can do along that, only in a puzzle solving way, not in a mean way, and not in a sort of like he's definitely a friendly ghost in a way.
Okay, he's like Casper except more handsome and more well known.
Yeah, I mean, he might be very sarcastic and make fun of you, but he might hurt your feelings, but he won't hurt you physically.
Oh, no, that still hurts, That's like
yeah.
That still hurts, Oscar. Come on, be nice. You're talking to a lady here. So Oscar asks, will there be off objectives, or will it mainly be focused on the mystery? So I guess he's asking about side missions maybe, or side objectives that are unrelated to the mystery.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's definitely more a point-and-click adventure than like it's not really an RPG. It is focused on the story, but there'll be side things you might have to do in order to progress in the main story. If that makes sense, like it won't always seem like it's quite linear. That there'll be something that might appear like it's just something you have to do on the side, will eventually lead you to the right place to sort of to solve the overall mystery. So it all ties into the overall mystery and moves the story forward in general. But it's sort of a very story based game.
And so pretty straightforward. It's like it is mostly linear, right? That's the idea. The main point, you have to focus on that. Solving your father's mystery. You can't really go, solving mysteries in Paris, whatever, like whenever you want.
Oh no! So it is the overall mystery is one mystery. Obviously, they'll have like within that mystery, there's sort of there'll be like milestones you have to get to by solving mini mysteries. You know what I mean? You sort of have to solve one part of the puzzle, which will lead you to another part, maybe not another country even, and so those they will all join together in order to lead you to the final. Your overall motive the whole time is to solve the mystery of your father's murder in this story. You'll be able to make some some sort of personal choices along the way, and so you can affect the world in a sort of side way, but yeah, it's still the overall mystery you're trying to solve.
Millisecond. I won't say Millennium Falcon, but it's a millisecond Falcon. How much of the game story have you written so far? That's actually a good question because it goes back to the comics.
Yeah, well, I mean, the whole like plot is written out, and we've designed all the gameplay mechanics for the first third. So what we're just doing is so what we're working on now is turning sort of the last 2/3 of the comic story into gameplay.
So if you want spoilers, get the comics. Oh, yeah, I don't have a link for the comics. You have to give me a link for where to buy the comics. I'll add that to the description.
Well,
I mean, if people want to read the comics,
yeah, the
they're
comics
available.
Are one of the rewards on the Kickstarter page. So there's a readers bundle. So if you're a big reader, you can actually get the game and the comics and all the scripts. So you can get the scripts for the comics and the script for the games. So there's hours and hours and hours of reading material there if you were and the game as well, obviously. So I'd say if you're interested in just reading the story for the start, you can go for that bundle and read the story and then play the game just for the puzzles. But you obviously know what happens already. Or you can play the game first and then you can read the comic and see. Well, also in the game we'll be adding on, so there will be fleshing out more characters and adding on more scenes. The sort of like because we'll have more time in the game. So you will, even if you read the comics, you'll still get extra story and also your own version of the story because you can make a few choices in the game and. But there will be some spoilers for the overall mystery.
Overall, though, you can just, if you want, buy the game, get a pledge that also gets you the comic books, read the comics books, and have a friend play the game when it comes out. And when he or she just starts, and they see their father dead, they say like, "Oh, that guy's the murderer," and ruin it for everyone. You can do that too.
That sounds like a really horrible plan. But if someone wants to do that, if someone wants to be evil,
you know what? Sometimes that happens with movies and stuff. It's not like I did it to people with Gladiator. Spoiler: really? He dies at the end.
Oh,
yeah, actually I did, but it was like 1 year after Gladiator came out. As I assume the person saw the movie. That's what I'm saying. But sometimes it happens.
Yeah.
I mean, it was 1 year. Come on.
You can always read it. I mean, I don't think there's any harm in reading the story first and then see how it adapts. You can quite easily read Lord of the Rings before you go and watch the movies. It won't spoil. You might know what happens at the end, but it's not going to spoil the experience because it's done differently. It's got different visuals. It's got different it's got a different approach and different stories. So it's the same sort of thing here. Obviously, in this case, it's a mystery. But I mean, you can easily read a Sherlock Holmes book and then play a Sherlock Holmes mystery because it's the puzzles and the variations that really make up the game.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's the thing. Reading a comic book, it's one thing. You're getting the story start to finish. That's perfectly fine. But when it comes to the actual game, you're interacting with something. Your mind is being put to work, to do something. So that's not in the comic book. You don't see those things in the comic book. So you do get a different experience because you're actually involved in this and you have active, things that you have to do around. So let's see. Warscar asks, are there voice actors, and if they are, who are they?
Possibly. So voice actors are one of the stretch goals. So I think it's the 15,000 mark. So we only have a few days. We're down to the last, say, 40 hours on Kickstarter. But the first stretch goal is for German and French translations. It's at 12,500. So if we get another, I think we're on 11,203 at the minute. So if we get just over another £1,300, we'll put in translations. And if we make it up to 15, we'll be adding on voice actors. So we don't have any actors lined up yet. So we want to wait and see how much of the final fund we'll have first.
Okay, so if you want to hear Jennifer Wilde talk like this, and Oscar Wilde talk like he's a drunk Frenchman, which I guess he would sound like he probably sounded like a drunk Frenchman when he was drunk. He was Irish, right? But doesn't matter. Like he probably sounded like a drunk Frenchman. Then consider pledging. You can still do that. Let's see.
If you have any suggestions, you can always add them into the comments. I'll have a look if there's anyone you think would be a good fit.
Oh, really? Don't do that, because then it'll be like, I would like to have Jennifer Black. No, dude, she's working on every freaking game ever. So no. I would like Peter. Who's that guy? Like this guy who does like all the freaking like Uncharted and whatever. Yeah, that guy. Exactly. See, exactly. He's doing everything. Like something North or something. I don't remember.
Nolan?
But yeah, Nolan. Oh yeah, Nolan. Yeah, Nolan something. Yeah. So probably people like who say that and like, nah, that's gonna be hard. He's probably booked until 2025. Let's see. So Stephen Fry for Oscar.
That was
actually Stephen Fry may actually be one who do it.
He's played Oscar before in some TV shows. So, and obviously he's a big celebrity. So if anyone has his phone number, give him a ring for me. Tell him it'd be nice to have him come back and play Oscar Wilde in a video game. You might you never know. You might do it for the sort of for the Kickstarter money. If he's
you're gonna get like a message.
Yeah, come down to indie level.
You're gonna get a message like, dude, I doxed Stephen Fry. Here's his home address and his phone number. Just have them.
I know he's fine. He's very sort of prominent on Twitter. So if anyone wants to tweet him that link to the Kickstarter that isn't me, you can tweet him and say, these guys would love you to be in their game.
Wait. Why do you say not you? Do you have a problem like tweeting Stephen Fry? Did he block you? What did you do?
No. I just think it'll appear very needy if I'm asking him. It'll seem like
come on, no.
I'll be saying, can you come and work for me for very cheap? But if somebody else does it, then he can make his own choice without having to turn me down in person.
It's a business proposition. Come on, he'll be fine. I mean, he seems like a pretty cool guy.
Maybe it is. Yeah.
So let's see. Millisecond Falcon asks, do you mean there will be multiple endings, since you talked about choices and different outcomes?
Yeah, in a way, I mean, it's not. You'll still be able to, no matter what choice you make, you can still solve the mystery. It isn't like, there won't be massive changes. Like Jennifer won't, die in the end if you pick the wrong choice. That sort of thing. Spoilers. But you can, but you can affect how Jennifer's personal story, and some of the other characters. You can sort of, well, actually, some people will live or die depending on your choices. But there's no sort of like, I sort of want to make it so there's no bad ending. It'll be whatever choice you're sort of making, and as you go along. But yeah, you can sort of like you can choose sort of, maybe there'll be sort of like some romantic questions as you go along that you can choose, and you can as I say, sometimes there'll be some moral choices. You might end up having to decide what some of the characters' fates will be, and that'll obviously all reflect in what the sort of end story is in the end. So yeah, there'll be multiple endings in a way, and they'll be made up from all different aspects of your choices throughout the game.
Okay, so Oscar Wilde is not going to die again, right? Like,
no,
whatever choice you make, he's going to stay dead in a ghost.
Yeah, and he won't come back in. Yeah, he'll be alive, not dead.
It's okay. That's for Jennifer Wilde too, right? Him coming back as a zombie. It's okay. You don't have to say the plans. It's okay.
I'll give you a spoiler. There's no zombie Oscar Wilde in the game. Or is
not
there?
in Jennifer Wilde 1.
No.
Post-release DLC when Oscar Wilde becomes a zombie and he starts
Yeah, well,
nibbling
if-
on. Never
If
mind.
Call of Duty can do zombie DLC, why can't we? You know.
I mean, it's going to sell, right? Because zombies sell. So
if you
might
not
as well
have
do it.
this zombies, why not Oscar Wilde zombies? Right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, okay, put him like a Tommy gun in his hand or something like that. Make him fast, because people like fast zombies. And come on, you make some money. That's gonna sell.
Yeah, I suppose I'd say the sequel features the gun-toting zombie ghost of Oscar Wilde. Yeah,
Yeah,
why not?
that'll be. Come on, that's promotional gold.
We'll see. Well,
Jesus.
if we can make enough money from the first one, then we'll consider that. So there's something else for you. That's the real stretch goal. It's the zombie the zombie gun shooting Oscar Wilde.
Fair enough. That's gonna be the. So let's see. Worskar asks at the beginning of the game, how do the police identify the way Jennifer's dad died? Well, they probably don't because they're dumb, right? And you have to do it.
How do they identify?
Yeah,
well,
that Jennifer's dad died. Well, they saw that he's not breathing, I guess.
yeah,
That's one of the
there was it's sort of part of the puzzle when you return to that scene, but there'll be at least one witness in the crowd, and so when you first come across that scene as Jennifer, you don't really care about who died because you're just trying to get to, or you think you're trying to get to your father to have lunch. You're just worried about getting through. But when you come back a second time, you can talk to some people, and you'll realize that some of them were a witness to what happened. Don't really want to. Maybe I shouldn't spoil exactly what happened because it's part of the puzzle. But the police are investigating the scene. So.
But they're incompetent because, come on, they're French police from the 1920s. Of course, they're not going to solve anything. They didn't even have DNA testing back then.
Well, that is true. So, but obviously Jennifer and Oscar have the benefits of being able to talk to the ghost, who was the only real witness for certain aspects of the murder. So that's sort of how the mechanics are going to play out. Maybe you can talk to people and discover a certain amount of information, the same as the police, but you have your special powers that let you sort of investigate a little further than a normal sort of an investigator could.
Can you, let's say, take control of people with Oscar, like possess them or objects?
No comment.
Oh, interesting. Okay, because I really thought that like you would say like, no, that's stupid, like, or something like that. It'd be like, no, we wouldn't do that.
It's definitely
interesting.
not
Okay.
It's definitely not one of the core mechanics of the game or anything. It's not.
Okay.
But I don't want to say. Yeah.
Okay, so wait, like this is like the serious question, but if Oscar Wilde can talk to dead people, why doesn't he just talk to Jennifer's dad's ghost and asks who killed you?
Because Jennifer's dad's ghost isn't around anymore. Her dad's ghost has gone, sort of.
In hell?
Because no, not hell. I don't know, but I assume not. No, he's just gone. But because Jennifer or Oscar's sort of stuck around on Earth for some reason, and so you can only really talk to the ghosts. You can't really call back any ghost. He can just it's only the ghost sort of already in the scene. So whenever so like for example, you have to sort of go back to, if you want to talk to the victim of the second victim of the murder, you have to go to that scene and then talk to whoever's there. But Jennifer's father's ghost isn't in that scene. He's gone elsewhere.
Oh. Okay, so let's see. So okay, the idea is that you have to solve a murder, right? That's I'm going to assume that it's not a random murder. So will the killer be in any way involved in, let's say, foiling the investigation done by Jennifer and Oscar, obviously, but maybe he doesn't know that Oscar is on the team?
There's definitely somebody who wants to get away with murder. So yeah, as Jennifer gets deeper into the mystery, people will try and stop her, and you'll maybe find your way into a few conspiracies, and Yeah, there's definitely trouble ahead for the duo. It's gonna get a little scary with all the ghosts and all the people around.
You can say it. Illuminati confirmed. You can say it. It's fine. It's 2017. We're not scared of them anymore.
Oh my god,
the Illuminati killed them.
Oh, Illuminati.
No, the Illuminati killed Jennifer's dad.
It isn't that deep of a conspiracy. It's more just a sort of like a personal conspiracy for amongst. I don't want to say anymore, but yeah, but there's definitely people who are out to stop Jennifer from finding the murderer.
Mm-hmm. So it's not only finding clues and talking to witnesses and trying to figure out. It's also actively fighting against some sort of element that's preventing you from moving forward and in your investigation. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Let's see, Millisecond Falcon. How did you find running the Kickstarter campaign and promoting it?
It was the worst month of my life. It was definitely.
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. Come on.
It was. I mean, when pledges are coming through, and I mean, it was brilliant seeing so much support from the backers, and also like a lot of support from sort of friends and family who were all not only pledging themselves, but also like sharing it on Facebook and Twitter, and really sort of I got a lot of support getting the word out. But at the same time, it's very stressful. We weren't funded until was it less than 24 hours ago, I think, or we're funded. And there's always that, there was always that feeling that you're going to be on Kickstarter. It's not only that. I mean, obviously we want to get the game funded. That's our big priority. We want to actually make the game, but it's also that a little bit of fear and stress that you're going to be seen as a failure on Kickstarter. So if you have that sort of, if you have something that's a game that's unfunded. It's been a brilliant experience actually getting feedback from the backers, listening to them, and finally getting funded. So a lot of stress and getting the word out was there was some people who supported us in a way. There was the odd sort of gaming site. There'd be like. I think people really had to find their own connection to it because most of the mainstream, websites aren't going to cover a Kickstarter or especially a sort of point and click Kickstarter. But we got a lot of support from like Adventure Gamers and Adventure Treff and those websites. We've seen a lot of sort of hardcore adventure game fans coming through from there. So support from the community, but harder to reach sort of more mainstream press. But overall it's been a brilliant experience because now we're funded and we'll have a good community behind us. But at about the halfway point, it was pretty stressful.
Yeah, it's really weird when it comes to this genre, adventure games in general, point and click adventure games in particular. It's like I've been reading about the genre being dead for 18 years now. Yeah, I'm not kidding, 18 years. Like I remember reading this since the first time I picked up a gaming magazine, like actual paper magazine. And it's amazing to me, like as you search, you do have to search a little bit, but as you search, you find so many projects that look good, that sound good. Wailing Heights, like pretty much came out of nowhere, and it's one of those examples of a good adventure game. And it's like there's so many other good adventure games, but in terms of the actual, I'm sure it's a niche, but it's amazing how a lot of press and people just kind of put aside this whole genre, although there's quality projects coming out like on a monthly basis. So it's really amazing. I've been playing another adventure game that came out today, and that's really awesome. Hopefully that does well. It's it's Yoshar Gubbins. You can check that out for anyone interested. Search it on. And it's Jennifer Wilde is coming. Wailing Heights, if you want to see it, it's like $10 now, so that's a really good price tag. There's a Split Town coming out later this month, so there are a lot of games. And when you see with the game jams and everything, a lot of adventure game jams, awesome projects, like awesome, really, literally awesome project that you'd think like, what the heck? And we definitely need more exposure this type of genre, because it's it's so difficult to get, but the games are of quality, but they're not getting the attention that I think they deserve. Because if more people saw Jennifer Wilde, I'm sure more people would invest, because it's something for, it's fun and it's engaging. It's, you know, people who like stories, you know, who like comic books, you can get those people too. So yeah, it's really weird how everything goes. It's just not everything is freaking Destiny 2. Sorry, but it's not. Or Overwatch. It's like the game's been out for like 14 months. Can you stop talking about Overwatch? Like you know, and when I say this, I mean press and, you know, like huge YouTubers. Like, I understand. I mean, you read crap about, you know, toxic, you know, the toxic community of Overwatch. How about you just play a game? How about you just look at other games? Look at, you know, Jennifer Wilde. That's, you know, play the game. See how you like it. And I'm sure a lot of people like it. It's just amazing how it's like this genre is like, no, we're not just going to cover it. But they're like, quality games. Why not covering it? It's really weird. But I'm glad that you made it. Now, tell me what do you want to say?
Also,
come on.
Sorry, I think I was saying it's obviously, you know, as the journalists also want to be they sort of want to write about what people want to hear about. So if more people want to hear about Destiny 2 than Overwatch, then they're going to give them what they want. You know, I think it is just. I mean, they're definitely, adventure games definitely aren't dead. And like you're saying, you can, if you do a search, you can find so many little projects that look amazing, look really good. I think maybe in terms of like that big massive budget, you're not seeing as many, you know, AAA adventure games as you would have seen. And I know even like Ron Gilbert had just done Thimbleweed Park, which is one of the, I can't remember if it was like it was a few million and I made the overall budget, but he was saying that it's not going to make back enough money to make another game. So so there's definitely fans out there, and there's definitely games there for it. It's just maybe the games are a bit smaller these days and a bit more. But I mean, I think if you look for it, everyone's getting what they want. The adventure game fans are getting new games, and, you know, people who love drawing, you know, creating great artwork and creating great stories are able to still make the games the way they want to.
Yeah, and it's with, you know, this project especially, it's like you're bringing people from all sorts of, let's say, areas, like, hey, PC gamers and, you know, adventure gamers in general, like PC gamers in general. Then you know, you get, you know, comic book fans who probably read Jennifer Wilde, you know, and it's you know, all this combination. There must be people who like this. So I don't know, it just, sure, give Call of Duty, you know, its due, but at the end of the day, there's so many titles that don't get the, you know, the exposure that they deserve, because it's at the end of the day, it's quality, right? If you find a quality game, I think it's fair to at least show it, at least tell people about it, you know. So let's go. Okay, so this is interesting question from Warskar on the chat. Depending on the way Jennifer's house looks, I'm guessing she or her family are mildly rich. Is that the take you wanted on that subject? Is she loaded?
Like, she's definitely yeah. Yeah, she's definitely not. She's definitely not poor. She's definitely, yeah. She's at least, you know, middle class in the 1920s. I think once later on you'll visit Jennifer's parents' house, and you'll see that, yeah, it's pretty. I mean, they're probably, they're definitely well off. She's not a poor student. She's a student. That's why she can spend so much time running around drinking wine and painting. She doesn't really have to work yet. So maybe, you know, she's a bit sort of young and naive, but I think the death of her father really brings her down to earth in a way. That'll sort of help her sort of grow up and sort of a more. I mean, she'll still have her sort of flippant and sort of witty personality, but she'll be a bit more of an adult sort of through this process as she sort of grieves, and also obviously moves into the sort of solving the mystery.
So you mentioned her parents' house, so that would be in the UK. Can you talk about the other locations that you're going to see in the game?
No, her parents' house is also in. Her parents' house is in France as well. It's just outside Paris. So she takes a train out later on to and you get to meet Jennifer's mum. After obviously, you know, once Jennifer's sort of father dies. So it does change the relationship between her and her mum, and even more so that sort of secret background that he has. Whenever Jennifer finds out about it and finds out more about her, sort of, she's finding out more about her dad after he dies than she ever knew about him when he was alive. So that'll definitely change the dynamic of her and her mum's relationship as well, and sort of how she views her parents' relationship as well. So it's a complicated relationship that they have in the game.
So she has daddy issues.
No, well, I wouldn't go that far. But
she's talking. Okay, wait. She's seen ghosts and she's talking to the ghost of Oscar Wilde. You can't tell me she's normal. Let's say that.
No.
At least that.
She's definitely an odd character. Yeah.
So tell me about the other locations. Like I know you said that you're going to visit, the UK and Ireland, right? Yeah. So I think so in sort of like the different acts of the game, sort of like as you go through sort of the middle of the game, Jennifer makes her way to London, and she finds she gets more accustomed to the sort of the English way of life. Has a bit of a stumbling block on her investigation there in London, but eventually moves across to Dublin in Ireland, where she'll find out a bit more about. So she's in a way she's retracing her father's steps, some of his troubles, and then she'll find that he's got connections around both the UK and Ireland as well, and that'll sort of tie into the overall mystery. Again, she's finding out more about her dad. At the same time, she's finding out about the sort of the mystery of his death as well. Are we going to get any, let's say, maybe insight about Jennifer as a young girl who saw ghosts back then? Is that going to come up, throughout the game?
It wasn't really in the comics. I'll maybe have a chat tomorrow, but it's not. I'd like to focus more on the modern day mystery and not do too much of a distraction, because there's a lot of things already happening in the game. You're already learning about the modern mystery, you're learning about your father's past, and you're also getting hints about your own past and the family. It's an interesting idea though. Might be interesting just sort of have a look at that, just to see what just to at least, I mean, she'll at least talk about it. If not, but definitely won't be playing as a young Jennifer. I think that's got too much to sort of cram into the game.
Yeah.
But I think we'll definitely learn little bits about why she repressed those memories and sort of why she's why her powers act the way they do now.
Because I understand you want to be true to the comics. I'm just thinking, someone looking at the game and obviously the comics too. I would be interested in seeing what happened back then. Not necessarily playing, right? But obviously maybe not this game, but maybe in the future something something that gives me more insight as to like what's the reason why she can see ghosts, what happened to her back then, how did the people around her react. I think that's really cool, to find out, so you build a better connection to the character. I mean, she seems pretty awesome too. Like, she's really laid back. She talks to ghosts. That's cool. Young, rich, like okay, that's all attractive stuff. But it's really cool to find out what makes her tick. Let's see. Warscar asks, did you do research about the buildings and clothing of the 1920s Paris, or did you just wing it? Did you just wing it?
That's gonna be a question for John, but he's just leaving there once he heard the word research. So back when I was doing the comic, I had a whole like Pinterest, or was it a Pinterest? It was definitely folders anyway. Folders full of 1920s clothing, sort of that sort of whole that flapper era, dress style and lifestyle. Almost. So yeah, I definitely did a lot of that stuff. I have pages and pages of women's fashion and men's fashion from the 1920s, France as well, and trying to work them in as close as possible. In terms of the buildings, that would be John did a lot of that. He did a lot of especially with those really nice, out Jennifer's window. You sort of see a lot of cool cool architecture and buildings. But the sort of good thing about about European cities is a lot of the architecture. I mean, obviously the sort of shop fronts have all changed, but a lot of the buildings still have that same sort of classic style that have been around for centuries. So we have a Pinterest, we have a sort of private Pinterest we all share amongst ourselves, and a lot of folders and reference, which is part of the reason why it takes so long to draw, because you want to get it all right. You want to get it all looking pretty cool as well.
Can I ask about the interaction? Because I see, like, in this setting where I see a lot of characters. Like, how much interaction do you have with the people you see on the screen? Are there going to be, like, I don't know, tens of characters that you're going to interact with throughout the game, or is it like, more compact, fewer characters, but with more dialogue, more of a more bulk when it comes to interaction?
No, I think I don't want to do those. I don't want to do too many frivolous interactions. I think it ends up just sort of confusing the player if you're talking to everybody as you go along. So each person you can talk to. I mean, I think you can talk to maybe 4 people in that first or in that sort of street, in that sort of street scene. But obviously later on, there may also be a ghost that's involved in that scene. But I want to keep it to that sort of level where every interaction is interesting, and you're not just wasting your time to try and find the right person to talk to. So compact in a way, like, I mean, there's a lot of people in the background, but they're there as a witness. But you can't really talk to them too much. Every character is very purposeful, and will sort of be integral to the gameplay in some way.
Okay, so you're not just going to find a random dog and just pet him. It's like he would say, like, woof woof. It's like that.
Maybe that's one thing, but in general, no. But now I like that.
Yeah, now
I want to do it.
Right. So you want meaningful, connections to the people you actually interact with. You want them to have relevant information or something,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, something that'll each person you can talk. It's similar to the items that you can select in the first scene. That you'll need those in some way throughout the game, either as a sort of human connection or a gameplay or story connection, as you talk to them.
So let's talk a little bit about the audio, because again, I think when we talked previously before the live stream, I was mentioning that you've done an amazing job with Waiting Heights. It's soundtrack wise, at the very least, of course, gameplay wise too, but it was awesome. It was like, it had some super catchy tunes.
Thanks.
How was it? I don't remember, like, one. How was that with the vampire girl? Sorry, I don't remember. It's fine. It's been a year, actually more than a year. Yeah. Lola. Yeah. Anyway, she was cool. she is cool. What are you going to do about Jennifer Wilde? What can we expect with the soundtrack and the music?
So obviously with Waiting Heights, we had a sort of like a poppy rock, sort of Motown vibe, depending on where you were in the time. I think what we had our sort of theme tune was very 60s, Beatles, Monkeys type style. So that was for Waiting Heights. But obviously Jennifer Wilde is set a lot earlier, in 1921 in Paris. So like I was saying, it's the start of the jazz age, really, back then. So that's and she's basically a hipster, a modern or a 1920s version of a hipster. She was into all the new music and all the cool stuff that was quite bohemian, and she's an art student into sort of like the sort of modern wave of art that was sort of coming through back then. So we're gonna create a little EP of jazz music, a little sort of mini album that we can scatter throughout the game, and also use as Jennifer's theme tunes and background music. But also each piece will be a little standalone piece that you will be part of the overall album. It won't be it won't be really pop music. But it'll be definitely. I mean, we'll put as much effort into the soundtrack, because I think it's really important to get that soundtrack into a game that really helps set the scene and and the sort of emotions that it's in the game. So I sort of can't wait to get sort of now. I mean, hopefully everything will continue to go well with Kickstarter over the next sort of 40 odd hours. And if it all goes well, then I can't wait to sort of get stuck in and start talking to some people about developing that sort of album.
Will there be like different maybe themes for the different locations? Like, for example, London will have different sound than Ireland than Paris. Is there going to be like a differentiation like that?
That's interesting. I mean, we'll be bringing on like a sound designer to help us out, but that's an interesting sort of way to look at it. As well, especially if we do get the money for the voice acting, but obviously the whole sort of background accents, there's a different sort of vibe to it. Like I can imagine London being a lot noisier, but they are sort of like obviously like inside outside and stuff, getting and then we'll have that sort of like when you're in Jennifer's apartment, you'll have that sort of crackly background of of jazz music records. But obviously when you're walking around in the when you reach some of the scenes you're going to end up in Dublin and London, it won't be as relaxed or as Jennifer won't be listening to your own choice of music, so it'll be a bit different.
I mean, I'm thinking going to a restaurant in Paris, musically, it's going to be very, very different from going to a pub in Dublin, right? Like all the folk music there, like it's going to be. So yeah, that would be pretty cool to hear the different sounds of that era, because you don't really get games that are set in this time period. It's like it's either like World War I, World War II, or later on, or like modern day or whatever. So the 1920s aren't exactly this isn't the period that's been highly used for games, so it's nice to have something put in there where you can maybe find out a little bit. Of course, don't get history from games, but it could get people interested in what happened there, what was the style, musical, architectural and everything. One second, so let's see, Warscar has to go. Well, thanks for coming.
Thanks for
question for me, would you play the game when you get the chance? Well, technically I'm playing the demo right now and you can play it yourself. It's available for Windows. There's a link in the description below, just under the Kickstarter link, if you want to go. Hint. Oops, what was that?
Sorry, that was something I could do myself.
It's alright. So you can get the demo. It's available for Windows. It's free to play. You get to find your dad dead on the floor. So if you wanna live that experience in a game, try it. And yeah, of course, when it comes out, if the good people at Outsider Games feel like, oh no, this guy again. All right, whatever. Just send him a key so he can shut the fudge up. So maybe, yes, maybe, hopefully. Actually, let's talk about let's talk about the technical side first before the actual release and everything. It's using Unity. Just tell me why you stick to it, I guess, because you used Unity for Wailing Heights, right? Your first project.
Yeah, we used Unity at the time. There's a few. I mean, we had a sort of like so we built some sort of mobile games in Unity before we sort of moved into doing our sort of full-length PC games, and it's really sort of Wailing Heights was our first sort of big long game, so we built a nice workflow over the course of like it was like just over a year sort of development time on Wailing Heights. Sort of building it in Unity. So yeah, so it was just a lovely, and it meant some of the sort of trial and error stuff we'd done throughout Wailing Heights. We were able to just use that sort of like but have our own sort of engine on top of Unity, for putting in stories and plugging in dialogue and such. Although we've sort of improved all that stuff, but we're still able to use a lot of the some engine type workflow that we put into the Wailing Heights. It's also really great for if we are able to sort of port into different platforms. I know it's the sort of stretch goal there, sort of like on the 20k mark. But even either that, or if we get enough sales, it's really easy to sort of port, into at least straightforward enough to sort of port into different sort of platforms. So we can. I mean, it's for a start, we're launching on Windows, Linux, and Mac. So without having that sort of like really handy middleware like Unity, that would just be a much bigger job. So yeah, I mean, it's basically it's got a great workflow for both programmers and artists. They can work together in a program, and sort of like the cross-platform possibilities are pretty good.
Did anything that you've made for Wailing Heights kind of, let's say, break with Unity updates? Because that's something that I hear a lot. It's like, oh, Unity released an update. Oh, I just got 15 errors for a build that, compiled just fine in the previous build. The previous update.
That happened quite a bit. So it wasn't too bad. It might have happened maybe once or so during Wailing Heights, but we weren't too. We didn't really. There was no compulsion to update because we were happy with the version we were using. So that by the time the game came out, there may have been a new version or two of Unity that we didn't need to update to because all the features we need were in the current version. But when it comes to doing consoles, you have to update to, or we had to update to a newer version than what we already had, and it definitely broke the game, big time. So as we're sort of building the console version, lots of things, and then as you go along, you want to try and keep up to date with the latest versions of Unity that are needed for consoles, and then it breaks the game again. So it's just it is just a bit of extra work. But it's definitely worth it, for the opportunities you get. Otherwise, you'd be basically building the whole game again from scratch. So having to fix a few errors, it can be annoying whenever you just want to get something, you basically finish the game and you just want to make it, ready for another platform, and then you just sort of want to get it out. But it's definitely overall it's better than having to build the whole game again.
So I know that so you mentioned Windows, Linux, Mac as the base platforms, stretch goals at 20 consoles. Are you thinking about maybe a mobile release? Would Jennifer Wilde work on mobile, maybe on a tablet, for example?
Possibly, yeah. It's got really high res, sort of like 4K artwork. Obviously you can shrink that down for any other platforms, but it might work on a tablet. It's when you end up with sometimes when you use 2D art, it's actually more intensive than 3D art because 3D art is mostly geometry and some sort of lower res textures. But when we want sort of like that 4K sort of like high fidelity 2D artwork, it actually takes up a lot of your hardware. So possibly down the line, we'll see how well obviously Kickstarter's reacted well. We'll see how well it reacts once the game's actually released. But I think sort of PC, Mac, and Linux are our priorities, and then we'll see how it goes from there.
So I remember when we talked the last time about Wailing Heights that you took your game and showcased to people in various expos and stuff and events, public events, right? So did you do something like this with Jennifer Wilde? Did you take it on the road, let's say?
We went to, we had a sort of like, if you have a look at our Kickstarter, there's an update there. I think one of the early updates is sort of like the Jennifer World Tour, which is sort of we were sort of joking around, but John brought it over to EGX there at the end of last month, was it? It was the Kickstarter had just launched. It was in the first week, so he was over at EGX for that. You got loads of lovely feedback and loads of people who were really interested. And a few of them came on and backed the Kickstarter, which is great. At the same weekend, or the weekend before actually, I'd brought it down to Galway, and we actually won. We won the Excellence in Artwork award at the Galway Galway Games Gathering, and it was really great to see a lot of sort of the Irish gaming community down there. Like obviously up north, we would know a lot of the Northern Ireland community quite well, but it was nice to really connect with them, with sort of the rest of the island. And then it was and then we had back in our hometown in Belfast. We had the Belfast Media Festival, which is really great. It was sort of like the Games NI sort of helped on that, and it was nice to get again just a sort of local connection to people, and sort of show off the game. It's hopefully we'll get to bring it some further again as we sort of develop and make the game. As we get further into the game, we'll get to show it off.
Oh, so are you thinking of maybe having another demo out, like later on, in the development, or is this Kickstarter demo what you're putting out, and then it's just going to be the release version?
I'm not sure. I don't actually know. I know there's obviously that demo is still like a work in progress. So I mean, even internally, it'll be it'll need tidied up and stuff as sort of polished again. But I'm not too sure if it'll release anymore, or if that's or if we'll just move into the whole game. So we'll see what sort of feedback the community has.
So how long has Jennifer Wilde been in development at this point? How long have you been
working on it over? Like I said, it was 2 years ago when we first talking the world, but we really been working on it sort of over the last say year or so. Just actually working on the art and the design and the actual script and stuff.
Oh, so while Wailing Heights was being finished,
a demo that was ability, or sort of like we're working on it for a year, not knowing if we're ever going to get the full funding to finish it off. So it's really as I say, if the Kickstarter continues to go well, then I'll be really happy to be able to know we're doing the full game.
So when can we what's your estimate right now for release for the base platforms, at least for Windows, Mac OS, and Linux? What's the timeline? Sorry, can you hear me, Steven?
Oh.
Hello? Oh my god, the storm hit them. We don't have sound anymore. Yes, I'm talking. Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Okay, it was a storm. Just
it was
run,
a storm
run.
Yeah,
okay.
It was a few cows flying across the sky there. Sorry.
What kind of freaking? They're just flying cars. It's fine. It's Belfast. It's an interesting place. Cars? Why not? I mean, what? I mean, they're testing new Teslas there that are flying cars. It's a secret project. Cows? Ah, cows. Sorry, I thought you said cars. Cows. Why would they have? No, that's weird. That's cows. Why would you? Oh no! Now I'm thinking of like a Pegasus that has like a cow. That's disturbing. Yeah, exactly. So no one would want that. Sorry, I was asking you, what's the estimate right now for finishing the base build for Windows, Mac OS, and Linux?
Yeah, we're talking about sort of our goal is November of next year, so November 2018. So give us the time to sort of like really build it the way we want to do it. I don't want to sort of rush it out. I want to do a proper good job, and then sort of be near the end of next year when we actually release the game.
Okay, so you're putting it against Call of Duty 2018. Do you really want to take away that spotlight from it?
Well, we'll see.
Are you taking on Activision? I mean, come on.
I don't want to destroy all their sales, but I know I'll.
I'm just exactly yeah.
I'll consider that. Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Okay, so November. That's. So you still have 1 year, like around 1 year of development. So that's.
Yeah, pretty much. Yep.
Quite. Yeah. So let's just. Okay, so the Kickstarter is successful. So that in terms of you reach the funding goal. If people want to, support the game, you can still do it. 48 hours. You can get a copy for as little as £10, I believe. That's the lowest pledge.
Yeah, I mean, I really love that they reached some of those stretch goals. I think there's a lot of demand for the sort of German and French translations, and I know a lot of people would like to see some voice acting in there. So if you want to pledge and help us reach that next stretch goal, that'd be really brilliant.
And that's what at 12, right? 12k, 12,000.
It's 12.5 for
okay, 12.5, yeah.
Translation. Yeah, and we're on 11.25 now, so it's definitely doable over the next 45 hours if people come and pledge or maybe raise their pledges. then yeah, it's definitely doable to get there.
So of course that passed. So you got funded. That's a good thing. Of course, more money would be awesome. To continue expanding on the game or making it available easier for more people. But what was Plan B if this didn't work? Did you have a Plan B? It's like all or nothing.
Almost, because at the start our sort of plan was to do an episodic release, but the sort of feedback was that You know, it was going to be there was a bit too many of them that you couldn't follow all of them at the same time, and also that we sort of knew from Mail and Heights that although there was a bit of a tail, you know, the sales are still coming in. It might have been a long time before we actually did, you know, a second episode. So we sort of went to Kickstarter then. We sort of changed it from building episode 1 to building a demo, and plus, you know, some more art for episode 1, and then say going through Kickstarter. So I mean, it might have been possible to sort of like, you know, try and find a smaller amount of money to maybe build an episode 1, but it wasn't really what we wanted to do. We really wanted to tell this game, you know, as one story, and that's so we're pretty thankful that all the backers are sort of helping us out with that.
Well, then it's good that you know. I mean, you know what's interesting, that you reached this this sum. It's not a lot, right? So
Yeah.
I don't know what you did, like some accounting magic, but in terms of the actual, you know, sum that, you know, you wanted to raise,
Yeah.
I think it's relatively low compared to, let's say, other projects. So that's quite amazing that, you know, you were able to kind of compact it so much, you know, having 1 year worth. Are you taking anything on the side, like maybe contract work to fund the development?
Well, I've done before over the sort of the last year. We did some little bits and pieces and some artwork for people. One of the sort of tiers was to do a bit of work for somebody after Jennifer Wilde is finished, which would be a nice sort of break. But we're hoping to. Well, see, it's 11,000 isn't actually the full budget. We had obviously we put some, you know, over the last year we put a certain amount of money into it, which got us, you know, the sort of start animations and this. But obviously Jennifer's animations are going to last throughout the whole game, you know. So that's you sort of get more sort of like front heavy in a way to get a lot of those sort of concepts and designs all done. So and obviously we'll have the sort of an Oscar's done as well. I know he isn't in the demo, but he has designed and made. So those two characters will sort of last the whole way through the game. And so that's but also we can sort of apply for funding to Northern Ireland Screen, and they will sort of match the funding. And because we're part of the UK, we can get the UK tax credit, which is an extra 20% of what you spend on games. You get that back to spend again. So that so the actual overall budget of the whole game is closer to like sort of 45,000, and maybe 43, 45. So it's, you know, that sort of 11,000 in a way unlocks a lot. You know, it helps us in a much bigger way than just the sort of just the money itself. If you're really interested in the business side, there's a wee chart on the Kickstarter page that sort of shows how that 11,000 becomes more as we sort of invested. But it's sort of like, you know, the sort of, you know, the businessy side of things.
Yeah, that's. I mean, you know, just looking at, you're really good as a studio at managing the, you know, finances, I guess, because it's a lot of work, and you've been working for, you know, or a while, and then you have another year, you know, to go until release. So, you know,
Yeah.
hats off to whoever finished business school at Outsider Games, because yeah, really nice work.
There was no business school. It's all just making it up as you go along. No,
you know what? That's impressive. That's impressive.
Oh well, I mean, it's obviously there's a lot of research and stuff, and obviously I spent years being a freelancer, so I knew how to, you know, I spent the last 10 years being a freelancer as well. So you get to build up your business skills and your spreadsheets and your budget and stuff. So yeah, I've been doing it and I've been obviously making games for 5 years now. So we're able to put together a good budget that we know is sort of like, you know, is a good pace and a good budget and schedule. That's a good pace and a good amount of money for us. So yeah, it sort of happens. It's sort of been fine tuned by now.
So how important was it to have a demo with the Kickstarter? What was the thought process there?
Yeah, I mean, I know maybe sort of 3, 4, 5 years ago, you didn't need a demo. You just needed a really good pitch. But just sort of doing that research into what people are looking for. If people wanted to see that you weren't just, you know, you weren't just making it up, that you were a game developer, that you actually have something that's playable, but also something that they actually enjoy playing. So yeah, like for us, we wouldn't have done a Kickstarter if it didn't have at least something to show demo wise and sort of prove that that this is sort of a game that people want, and it's something that's worth backing.
Yeah, you know, because you're totally right. A few years ago, a lot of people got plenty of money without actually showing much, and a lot of people got burned. A lot of people who funded various titles got burned. So yeah, it is a lot more difficult, and I see, especially like in this last month and a half, it's really weird. There are a lot of projects, in this period, like September, October, and maybe 70% of them have a demo out. So this showcase, I think it's really important, and it gets people a little bit more likely to fund something from either a younger team or a team that doesn't have as much experience or something. Then again, there's also the odd things with niches. If you get like a niche and you have like 4 images that really people will throw money at you. So that's still there, but it's a lot less than, let's say, 4 or 5 years ago with Kickstarter. It's obviously more difficult, but it's you've made it pretty well. So let's talk about outside of Jennifer Wilde. You're working a lot of it. What else are you doing with your probably 25 minutes you got left in the day?
Oh, you're not wrong.
Before you
that, so what am I doing? Nothing. There is no sleeping for half an hour. No, at the minute, I'm playing Destiny 2. I'm going to talk about that, even though it's overtalked. That's my sort of
what platform?
PS4.
What platform are you?
PS4.
Ah, okay. So you're a man of culture. Okay, good.
Okay.
I was like,
yeah. So
I mean, seriously, you have to get a bit. Yeah.
So I have our sexy Irish Guardians, which is a really cheesy but funny name. That's our clan, and there's a few other guys. So there's another crew of English guys as well that I would play with, and yeah, it's just it's nice whenever you just have sometimes you can spend sort of 4 hours in a row trying to beat the raid, or sometimes it's good just to have that sort of like 25 minutes. You go in, do a sort of a strike or a couple of matches on the Crucible. So it's a nice sort of jump in game, and it's really just and obviously Bungie by now have their shooting mechanics down to a T. Other than that, I've been playing a few things on the Switch as well. Been playing Steam World Dig 2, which is a load of fun.
Oh, it's really cute. Yeah,
that's great. Yeah,
it's
a perfect sort of handheld. I say because I actually got a Switch, and I say a month ago or so, and haven't once plugged in the TV. I thought because I've never actually bought a handheld console. I've only ever bought consoles for the TV, and which is my intention here, and I just haven't plugged it in yet. I think Nintendo sort of tricked me into buying a handheld in a really nice way. So yeah, but it's sort of a nice thing. Sort of you can play it in bed or sort of wind down in the evening. And then yeah, well, I suppose I did. Me and my wife did a mud run last week, which was sort of raising money for sort of for charity. So we were running through puddles and pools of muck for I think it was 8 kilometers. So that was a nice day out to sort of get away from the computer screen, just running through fields of muck.
Yeah.
Literally some of it was like and we were going through swamps, so some of it was like chin high, mucky water. But it was good to get out of the house.
Wait. Okay, wait. You have roads there. Like, what was it's like? Was that like intentional? Like, we're just gonna go for a trail run or something? Not.
Oh no! It's like an event. It's a fundraising charity event. It's called the what they call it, McVitie's Jaffa Cake Mud Run, and you just sort of if everyone gets together. We actually met Kevin Beamers there from Italian Pig. He was there as well doing a run, and you just everyone gets together and they have like a big huge 8-kilometer obstacle course, and it's all full of mud and it's full of swamps, and you just it's not really a race. It's more like I say it's a sort of like a challenge. You just get from one.
Just survive.
Just survive and make it through. Sometimes ankle deep, sometimes waist deep, and sometimes chin deep mud and swamp. So it was. I've done a couple of runs recently. It's just nice to sort of get your body working again after sitting in a chair all day. So yeah, it was good fun.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Though, you know, that's how you lose really expensive running shoes. Just going in mud like ankle deep. That's how you lose them.
Yeah, it was myself, wife and me, and my sister and my brother-in-law. But we were we sort of turned up with our goodies, and Louise and Chris they turned up with a big roll of duct tape, and they were like, "I think you should put some duct tape all around your shoes," and we did, and I think it was lucky.
And you did?
We did, yeah, because you could still feel the shoe moving under your feet, so it was good. It was a pretty good idea to have that before you started off.
Well, yeah, because it's like, well, that's all. Everyone survived. That's good, and you got the exercise. That's also awesome.
Yeah.
So you know, I'd say that's. Well, we could talk probably. You know what? I'm doing the Dave Rubin thing right now. We could probably talk for like 12 hours or something.
Yeah.
For someone who doesn't know Dave Rubin, he's a cool guy. Just he says that thing way too often, way too freaking often. He mentions that he's gay and married to a guy way too often, and he says that he can talk about like for 2 more 3 hours every time. He's cool, but he does that, and I don't want to do that. So you know, maybe we can wrap it up. Let's you know, a few closing words. Tell people like why should they invest or pledge for the Kickstarter. Like, are you going to give them any Oscar Wilde ghost plushies?
That is one thing we're not going to be able to do, I'm afraid. But what we can give you is an awesome point-and-click adventure game with awesome art and a great soundtrack. We can also, if you go for the sort of reader's pledge, you can get really awesome comic books that will to read and the scripts. So if you love to read, this will keep you going for days. And if you want some of the Kickstarter exclusives, you can only get on Kickstarter, then you should go for the physical bundle. You'll get a sort of you'll get the costume that's only going to appear in this Kickstarter version. You can get a Kickstarter exclusive print, and you can also get a big box of stuff that we'll send to your house. You'll get a physical version of the game. You can get all the print comics, which are really awesome in print, and say that as a print a poster. And just like, I think if you look at the Kickstarter page, hopefully you will be so entranced by what's there, you'll just have to back us.
Well, you know what I found really interesting? It's that there's a pledge, at least one, where you can, you know, someone can work with you to make an NPC, a character in the game.
You can actually be in the game yourself, yeah. So if you want, there's a couple. People, there's actually quite a few people who pledged for it, and so we can draw you in the style of our sort of like our traditional line work comic book, and we can have you as an animated character in the game.
Oh, animated too, so it's not like just a background image someone put in, you know, far back.
You'll be in there somewhere in the game.
Okay. And do you have any pledge where you can actually talk? Where you can write a few lines or something?
Yeah, I don't think you can actually put your own voice into it just yet, because we haven't even reached our voice acting goal, so it'd be sort of weird if you only had one person talking in the game. But we'll see.
Right.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll get to that stage.
Yeah, but you know, that one I really thought that was interesting, because you know, you have the comics, you have to stay true to them, you know, but adding, you know, a few characters in there, you know, people who pledged, I think that's really cool. And again, it makes the game Jennifer Wilde the video game. That's not a cool name, but you know, different from the comics. So even if you know the comics, even if you enjoy the comics, this is going to be a slightly different experience. Sure, you know the end, but the journey is going to be obviously different, because you know the text may be a little bit different. You're going to interact with characters that you didn't interact with in the comic book, right? You're going to do the puzzles that obviously it's impossible to be in the comic. So I really like that. You know, it's not. You're definitely getting something different, even if you know the comic book. So that's pretty cool. So everyone, check out Jennifer Wilde on Kickstarter. Again, link in the description below. At least £10 will get you a copy of the game, coming hopefully in November. And you know, after that, Jennifer Wilde DLC, Oscar returns as a zombie. Just throw some Nazis in there. You know, he's killing some Nazis. He's killing Hitler, who was like, because he was then back then. He was writing okay, just put that in. You play Oscar Wilde as a zombie, and you go to Germany and you kill Hitler while he's writing Mein Kampf.
No,
although I think maybe in the 1920s he already wrote that.
No, that's not a promise. No.
Just putting it down there. Maybe there could be something there. So where can people find you online? I would say. Don't give your home address.
Oh, okay, yeah. If you go to jenniferwildegame.com, at the minute it'll bring you to the Kickstarter page, but eventually it'll be our own website. If you go on Twitter, we're Outsider Games. On Facebook, we're also Outsider Games. And if you want to have a look at our sort of previous projects, you can have a look like Whale Heights and such. Just go to outsidergames.com.
Okay, one last thing that I totally forgot. So in the initial build of the demo, I saw in let me just finish in Jennifer's, let's say, inventory, there was a comic book, a comic strip from Wailing Heights.
Okay.
And it's no longer in this build. You think I don't notice? I did notice. So are you going to get like teasers like that things that connect to Wailing Heights in one way or another?
No, that was an honest mistake. That was just we're obviously putting all the sort of temporary artwork into the first game build, and that's one that's sort of steps through. There's no conspiracy in that sense. It's all just it was just a little bug.
Okay, but that would be pretty cool if you could see like maybe some, you could unlock some sketches from Wailing Heights as if like, Jennifer Wilde was just sketching them, random things. I don't know, I really thought that was from the game. I already thought that was from Jennifer Wilde. I was thinking, oh, that's really cute. Okay, I just, just throwing ideas out there. I think that was, nice to tie up. Can I say your IPs? Maybe your two main IPs. You now have IPs because that's. I have decided that you have IPs now. It's Jennifer Wilde, Wailing Heights.
Yeah. No, at the minute they're not tied together. That's good.
It's okay. It's Jennifer Wilde too, or Wailing Heights too. Probably Wailing Heights too. It's gonna be Wailing Heights meet Jennifer Wilde, something like that. We'll see. It's, you know what? Okay, just talking out there. Obviously, I'm not giving you suggestions or anything like that. I'm not. You know better than me, obviously. No, it's really not. I'm not. Oh, you should do this. I'm not that type of guy. What would be cool? Like, because the styles of the games are so different, and it would be cool if there could be some sort of connection between them. And the characters from Wailing Heights would go into Jennifer Wilde's world, and they would be black and white, and have the comic book look, and vice versa. It just out there because they're so different, right? They're both adventure games, obviously, but they're so different in terms of the visual style. The audio is going to be obviously very different too. So I don't know. I kind of like this.
You should write some fan fiction. There you go. You should write some fan fiction of Jennifer meets Wailing Heights.
Yeah, but then there would be like some X-rated things with Jennifer. Getting together with Lola, and it's gonna be it's gonna be R-rated at least. What? Oh, you don't think Lola needs some love?
Maybe.
I mean,
why not?
She needs some loving too. I mean, Oscar Wilde can have. Oh, I'm not going to say. Can have a relationship with
some sort of weird fan fiction now, isn't it?
It's what? How is it weird? It's just
You've invented
ideas out there.
Fictional love triangles and love interests. Hey,
they're not actually love triangles because they're going to be exclusive.
Are you gonna
Jennifer and Lola are going to be exclusive.
Maybe you should stop before you get started. You may get too carried away.
What? They're going to be the first lesbian couple that gets married when gay marriage is approved in Japan. Whatever. How is that wrong?
I'd say it's probably legal already in Wailing Heights, so you can just go there.
Yeah, or there. Yeah, but it wouldn't have that impact. You'd have like a hashtag, like love conquers all. The first lesbian marriage and legal marriage, obviously in Japan. It'll be like a vampire lady and a comic book person who's dead since the probably 1960s. When did Jennifer Wilde die? I don't know.
Oh, don't talk about that. Jennifer's still very much alive.
Okay. Technically, if she was like a young woman in the 1920s, she's no longer with us. Come on, let's be honest. It's 2017. That's almost impossible. Unless she's like 100 and... Yeah, okay, it's fine. I mean, maybe she's like 103 or right now, whatever. So everyone, sorry, just going off tangent. So Jennifer Wilde, you can check it out on Kickstarter. Again, link in the description below if you want to pledge. You can still do that and get a copy, support Outsider Games, and having more cash. And as you heard, there'll be some people who pledge as much as they get. So that would be pretty cool if they have, I don't know, 20,000 pounds. That would be pretty nice. That would mean for all 3 consoles, I think, right? That was the stretch goal for the 20,000. Would be PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch. So just check out there, pledge, give them some love. Just just hashtag, just tweet at them #Lola and Jennifer for life, something like that. Just something weird. What? It's what. Nobody understands the love. Nobody understands the love. Only the twisted mind of me. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks Steven for being here. And everyone, you know what to do. Like this live stream if you want YouTube to just promote it to other people so more people can see and find out about Jennifer Wilde. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content. Use the Amazon links in the description below to buy anything and give me a little bit of money, like indirectly like that. If you don't want to spend anything, just use the Amazon links in the description below whenever you buy something, and I'll get some cash. I would like some cash too. I mean, I'm not doing a Kickstarter, but because that would be not exactly my thing. I mean, what would I kickstart? Like, it's a weird guy talking to people. That's not cool. Just no. So do that, and I'll see you again tomorrow for a new live stream. What's tomorrow? Tuesday? Wednesday? I don't even know. Oh, it's Wednesday. Okay, it's Wednesday. Wednesday, and what? 24 more hours tomorrow of Jennifer Wilde. Yeah, about that. Yeah. So if you wanna pledge, hurry. Right now, it's like the last hour. It's the last offer. It's like those infomercial stuff.
Last chance.
Right now, Exactly, if you pledge right now, Outsider Games will provide you with a free comic book, a free haggis? No, that's from Scotland. I don't know what you eat there, sorry. I have no idea what's the food in there. Free haggis, come on, you give away free haggis. Bread? Sure, I'm sure that's better than haggis. It's probably more
it is definitely
better tasting. So pledge there, and I really can't wait to see the full game, especially because I haven't seen Oscar Wilde in the demo. And I really want to see how he behaves, and I want to see his lines because I'm sure he'll be like a smug, but a smug but smart guy. So that's pretty attractive. Not in a gay way, but whatever, in a gay way too. It's fine. It's okay. It's 2017. Thanks again everyone for watching, and I'll see you again very soon. Thanks, Steven.
No problem. Thank you.
And everyone, until the next time we see each other, have an awesome day.